Hello and welcome once again to Moorgate Andrology. Now in today's video we want to talk about a topic which seems to be coming up quite regularly at the moment, and that's regarding penis enlargement surgery in Turkey. And we're getting questions all the time from members of the public, guys looking to have penis enlargement surgeries, skirting with the idea of having surgery abroad. So we wanted to address some points that you might want to look out for if you're considering penis enlargement surgery abroad, and in particular Turkey. So one of the questions guys ask is, what are the risks of having penis enlargement surgery in Turkey? Well, the first thing, of course, is you need to be able to check the registrations, qualifications and experience of the surgeon. And this is often more difficult to do when surgeons are overseas. In the United Kingdom, we have the General Medical Council, which govern the registration and credentials of doctors working in the United Kingdom. And it's easy to check a doctor's registration and good standing with the General Medical Council simply by going to the General Medical Council website. Here you can put the doctor's name in, and the GMC will give you an updated information in terms of the doctor's qualifications and good standing. This is very difficult to do, much more difficult to do with surgeons in Turkey, because it might be much more difficult to find a credible reference point for surgeons there. But it's important that you find out. Wherever you go in Turkey, we do suggest that you, if you're going to have the surgery in Turkey, that you should be done by a specialist urologist. Because if you choose a specialist urologist, then you can be assured that they at least have training in male genitals procedures, they understand the anatomy, and it will be a good start. Also, of course, one of the risks is you don't really know where you're going. So again, do your homework on the hospital. Is it an accredited private hospital? What other procedures are performed there? And see if you can do some research on the internet in terms of other people that have gone there and what their experience was. And finally, we'll talk about this a bit more, because this really is the key factor in having penis enlargement surgery, is the aftercare. What happens if you have a problem and it needs to be dealt with? Another question is the difference in standards. People say, well, what kind of standards can I expect for penis enlargement surgery in Turkey? Well, there are some very good hospitals in Turkey, very good private hospitals. Of that there is no doubt. But again, you really need to do your homework in terms of the facility where your surgery is intended to be performed. Hopefully it's a registered private hospital. But again, you need to do some research. It might not be possible to go to Turkey to take a look at the hospital beforehand, but if you're on holiday in Turkey, then there'll be no harm in having a visit to the hospital, having a look round, talking to some staff, and get a feel for the place. Perhaps going back to the issue of aftercare, the biggest issue is post-treatment communication. Now, Moorgate Andrology, we are seeing a few, not many, but a few patients who are coming back from Turkey, having had penis enlargement and having difficulties with communication. This is not just something specific to Turkey. This is a feature of many people who have cosmetic surgery abroad, is that they find it often quite difficult to get back in touch with the hospital or the provider of the surgery and get good sound advice. So how you're going to be followed up, who you've got access to if you need to speak to someone, these are really important factors that you need to discuss with the clinic, with the surgeon, before you go ahead. What happens if there's a problem? Who do you contact? Because if there is a problem, then you may not, well, if there's a problem that needs urgent attention, you're probably going to go to the NHS, because there may not be time to go to Turkey. But if you need so-called, let's say, a revision surgery, something else needs to be done, it involves another surgical procedure. This means, well, you have a choice. You're either going to go back to Turkey to have this extra surgical procedure done. This means that some of the costs that you will have saved on having surgery in the UK, for sure, they will be eroded, because you're going to have to pay further flight costs, hotel costs, maybe further surgery costs, and also, of course, you've got to factor in time off work. So if that's not a possibility, then you're either going to go to the NHS and ask them to sort it out, or you're going to come to private clinics like us, who are going to refer you to a urologist to have problems fixed here. And we are seeing one or two of those at the moment, but of course that's going to cost you, and then you will have eroded any savings that you've made on the surgery in the first place. So think about post-operatively, think about the aftercare. If you're prepared to go back to Turkey if there's a problem, no problem at all. But make sure that before you book the surgery, what is included in the aftercare? What is included? What is covered and what is not? People ask, why is penis enlargement cheaper in Turkey? Well, most surgical procedures are cheaper in Turkey. Perhaps some of the more common procedures include cosmetic and restorative dentistry, hair transplants, particularly popular, not so much penis enlargement surgery, but other general cosmetic procedures such as breast surgery are also very common. But facilities are much cheaper in Turkey. Surgeons' fees are much lower. So if price is your major consideration, then excuse me, if price is your consideration, then it may be on your radar. So people say, what are the most common problems with penis enlargement surgery in Turkey? Well, I think most of the ones we see here are based around the aftercare. If everything goes well, then there isn't a problem. But if you have a post-operative complication, if something needs to be fixed, you're going to need some advice. And if it does involve another procedure, you have to be prepared to go back to Turkey. For example, if you have an infection and the wound needs to be cleaned, or if you have a silicone buffer after the lengthening surgery and you have an infection, the buffer needs to be removed. You have to go back to Turkey for that fairly quickly. Or any minor lump and bumps in the fat transfer that maybe need injection treatment or even surgical removal. Again, you would have to go back to Turkey or rely on a UK provider to try and fix these issues for you. Another thing that one or two patients have asked is, can compensation be claimed for penis enlargements that haven't been successful in Turkey? Well, that this might be possible, probably is possible, but you may need to find a lawyer who specialises in Turkish law. There may be some in England that you can contact. You may not necessarily have to speak to lawyers in Turkey, although of course that's an option, but there may be lawyers here that can help you. But before it gets to that stage, you really will be better speaking to the clinic, airing any concerns or problems that you have, and if they're a reputable centre, they'll be very keen, I'm sure, to help resolve them for you. So I hope that's given you some insight and some points to think about if you're having if you're thinking of having penis enlargement surgery in Turkey, or indeed any European country, or even further. Well, that's all from me today. I look forward to seeing you back here at Moorgate Andrology very soon. But until then, bye for now.